But the kind of pain that so many of us enter into upon hearing the news of violence doesn't actually help anything. It doesn't help us because it's not healthy. And it doesn't actually help a community mobilize in any way that is effective. So I want to suggest that the words with which the Hebrew Bible begins, in fact, are responding to this very situation. The beginning of the Torah, the first words of Genesis say, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Usually translated, in the beginning God created heaven and earth. It's one of the worst translations in the world. This is Rosh. Bereshit is consciousness. With consciousness, the heaven and the earth are created. We're all expressions of a single consciousness, consciousness with a capital C. Everything we know, everything we interact with, is held in consciousness. But we tend to just focus on the object of consciousness rather than the consciousness itself, which flows through us to find objects, objects of thought, objects of feeling, and objects, substantial objects of materiality. Consciousness is the greatest creative force in the universe. With consciousness, the whole thing is created. We created ourselves with our consciousness. You know, we got this remarkable personality and we think we came with it already. Like we developed it in response to the world in which we found ourselves. We developed a persona that would allow us to survive, and judging from our presence here, we were successful. But then we forgot that we're the ones who created that. We forget that spring of creative energy with which we were able to create ourselves. And it's time to remember that. And the text goes on, V'haaretz haya tohu vavohu. Everything was in chaos. Yeah. That's what gives us trouble. The chaos inside, the chaos outside. What do we do with the chaos? What do we do with the lack of love? What do we do with the lack of order? What do we do with the lack of compassion? And then there's this marvelous image. Ruach Elohim rachefet al panei. And then the presence, the spirit of God hovered over the face of the deep. In other words, we have to allow ourselves to let go of the ego's attachment. The ego, when confronting the violence, is going to do one of three things. It's either going to push it away and try to deny it. It's going to pull it in and make ourselves miserable, or make ourselves violent in response, or we're going to numb out. My tendency is to numb out. I don't know what your tendency is. All of us respond in our characteristic ways. Neither of those responses, none of those responses is going to help a great deal to solve anything. The spirit of the one is a spirit that lives within each one of us. And the image is, rather than getting stuck in the chaos, rather than trying to change the chaos from within the chaos, we have to allow ourselves to let go of that and to hover over that face of that consciousness, of that deep, of that strife, of that struggle. And rediscover, remember, realize that creative consciousness with which we did this. That creative consciousness with which there is a deeper freedom and a deeper wholeness and a deeper peace and a deeper compassion. And then we have to do exactly what the one did in that myth. Vayomer Elohim, and God said, Yehi or, let light be. Vayehi or, so light was. And I urge all of us, at those times when we feel deluged, and we feel in danger of drowning from the violence that erupts in our world or the inequality that is displayed in our community, take time to let go, to hover over the face of that chaos, and to invite light. To invite light to embrace you, to invite a light to share with others, and to invite a deeper wisdom that flows from that space of light. Adding more hate to the world will not solve anything. Confirming the enemies in the world will never lead to peace. Peace will flow from peaceful beings. Love from loving beings. Let there always